Some women are married to bad men, but that's not what breaks many marriages. In fact, a lot of women are married to good men, responsible men, faithful men, hardworking men, men who genuinely love their wives. Not perfect, but men who actually try. Yet, years into this marriage, they find themselves unhappy, frustrated, disconnected, exhausted, and wondering what exactly went wrong. And when people look at the marriage from outside, they are confused because there was no obvious abuse, no scandal, no cheating, no dramatic betrayal. Just two people who seem unable to understand themselves. I believe one of the biggest reasons this happens is because most women enter marriage without a certain kind of knowledge, a kind of knowledge that could save them years of frustration. And unfortunately, many women only discover this after they're already married. Growing up, many women were taught how to become wives. They were taught how to cook, how to care for a home, how to respect a husband, how to care for a family, how to raise children, how to submit, how to sacrifice, how to endure. But very few women were taught how to choose. Nobody sat them down and said, before you choose a husband, you would need to understand yourself. Not your favorite color, not your hobbies, not your love language, your personality, your natural wiring, your emotional needs, the environment where you thrive, the kind of leadership that you naturally respond to, the kind of relationship dynamics that brings out the best version of you. Instead, many women spend years preparing to be chosen, but very little time preparing how to choose wisely. And that creates a dangerous problem. Because if you do not understand yourself, how can you possibly recognize the man who naturally aligns with the person that you are? Think about it. Imagine walking into a store without knowing what you need. How do you know what to buy? Everything looks good. Everything looks attractive. Everything appears to have potential. That is exactly how a lot of women approach marriage. They know they want marriage, but they don't fully know themselves. So they choose based on attraction, chemistry, pressure, age, potential, family approval, spiritual activities, or simply because a man appears to be a good man. Now, let me say something important. A good man is not automatically the right husband for you. I think this is one of the hardest truths for many women to accept because we have been taught to ask, is he a good man? When sometimes the better question is he the right man for the kind of woman that I am? Those are not the same questions. A man can be good and still be the wrong man for you. A woman can be good and still be wrong for him. Neither person is toxic. Neither person is wicked. Neither person is evil. Sometimes there is simply a mismatch. And the painful thing about this mismatch is they always look beautiful at the beginning because attraction can hide incompatibility. Excitement can hide incompatibility. Wedding planning can hide incompatibility. Honeymoon phase can hide incompatibility, but marriage eventually exposes reality. Marriage forces two real people to live together. And when that happens, differences begin to appear. One person needs freedom, the other person needs structure. One person loves adventure, the other person loves predictability. One person processes emotions openly, the other person withdraws. One person thrives under strong leadership, the other person prefers collaboration and partnership. None of these things automatically makes anyone wrong, but they do affect marital happiness. This is why some women spend years trying to become the woman their husband wants, while their husbands spend years trying to become the man their wives want. And the both of them become frustrated because they are fighting against their natural wiring. The tragedy is that society often mislabels these situations. The woman is called disrespectful, she's called rebellious, she's called unsubmissive. The man is called controlling, he's called insensitive. Meanwhile, the deeper issue may be that neither of them understood themselves well enough before marriage. And because they lacked self-awareness, they could not make a truly informed choice. Now, please don't misunderstand me. They are genuinely bad men. abusive men, manipulative men, dangerous men, and women absolutely need to learn how to identify them. But I believe another conversation is equally important. How do you identify the wrong man when he is actually a good man? How do you identify a mismatch before marriage? How do you recognize that someone is not naturally aligned with you? How do you know the type of man that will bring out the healthiest version of you? These questions require self-awareness. And unfortunately, self-awareness is not something that a lot of women were taught. For years, women have been told, choose a God-fearing man. That's good advice, but it's incomplete because two God-fearing people can still be a mismatch. Women have been told, choose a responsible man. Again, that's good advice, but still incomplete because two responsible people can still be mismatched. Character matters, value matters, faith matters, but compatibility matters too. And compatibility begins with self-awareness. This realization changed the way I think about marriage because I stopped asking, what kind of man should a woman marry? And I started asking, what kind of woman is she? Because until you understand the woman, you cannot accurately identify the kind of man who naturally fits her. And that question became the foundation for something I have been working on for a long time. I realized many women had never been given a framework for understanding themselves before choosing a husband. Not a checklist, not generic dating advice, a genuine framework, a way to understand their personality, their relationship needs, their strengths, their blind spots, and the kind of marriage dynamic that naturally aligns with who they are. That is exactly why I created my course, The Kind of Man You Should Marry, based on who you are. Not based on trends, not based on social media, not based on what worked for your friend, but based on who you are. Because the right husband for one woman may be completely wrong for another. Inside this course, I go much deeper into personality patterns, relationship dynamic, compatibility factors, and self-awareness principles that every woman should understand before marriage. Honestly, this is the course I wish more women had access to before they ever started looking for a husband. Because the goal isn't simply getting married, the goal is building a healthy marriage where both people can genuinely thrive. If you made it this far, I want you to think carefully about one question. Do you actually know yourself well enough to choose wisely? Not do you know what you want? Do you know yourself? Because those are not the same thing. And sometimes the difference between a thriving marriage and years of frustration is hidden inside the answer to that question. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in learning more about the course, you would find the details in the description below. As always, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.